That's Eagles offensive lineman Jason Kelce, Jordan Mailata, and Lane Johnson singing White Christmas from their brand new Christmas album, A Philly Special Christmas. Are they singers? Nope. But I'm buying it anyway.
I said, I'm dreaming otherwise.
I wish I could play more of it, but I don't want to get flagged for copyright infringement. Damn you, Irving Berlin, sucking those sweet Christmas royalties from beyond the grave. I ought to dig him up just to bury him again. Is that Dave Grohl? Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to Shut Up Football. I'm Jeff Stoltzfus. That's Kevin. What an odd week. There's so much I don't even know if we'll have time for the recap. The Jaguars mascot got a haircut. Sean McVay was cold-cocked in the middle of a game by his own player. OBJ was kicked off of a plane. The Commanders dropped the ball on another Sean Taylor tribute. And we don't even have time to talk about how Terrell Owens fought a guy outside of CVS. Probably with the receipt. You get a little bit of turkey and you all go crazy. We're talking about Week 12 of the NFL season. We'll recap the game in a second, but first, it's barely news. Jaguars mascot Jackson DeVille showed up to last week's game sporting a new look. He gyrated at the players during touchdowns and appeared under the goalpost during a Ravens field goal. A brilliant tactic by the Jags to mess with opposing teams. Good luck trying to keep your focus with that patriotic banana hammock running wind sprints through your mind all day. Jerry Jones caught heat after a picture surfaced of him with a group of classmates trying to intimidate black students in 1957. Oops, said Daniel Snyder standing by a safe with blackmail pouring out of it. Jones tried to explain the situation by saying he was just a curious kiddo attending a hotbed of racial tension, even though he was told directly by his football coach not to. But look at the picture. I see like 6 different cameras there, not including the one that took this picture. You didn't think Coach was gonna find out? Jones was defended by a surprising source, Stephen A. Smith, who I'm told is black, but I don't see color. Or stop signs. Smith said Jerry doesn't deserve scrutiny over this after 65 years because racism gets better with age. No, wait, that's wine. Actually, I don't know what his point was. I can't listen to him. OBJ was kicked off a flight after he was in and out of consciousness and refused to put his seatbelt on. As if the plane crashed, he wasn't gonna catch it. All the passengers were forced to deboard and Beckham was escorted off. He blamed an overzealous flight attendant for the whole ordeal. Wait, what did this flight attendant look like?
Now you're in the sunken place.
Someone broke into the Browns stadium overnight and drove a golf cart onto the field. If they were a Browns fan, it's hard to fathom what they were celebrating. The grounds crew did their best to repair the damage prior to hosting the Bucs, but it was still pretty obvious before the game. No word on who was behind it. After fucking up a Sean Taylor memorial last year, the Commanders took another run at it. They called it a memorial installation, aka not a statue. Fans were upset that it looked like an art project made by children. He was a person, not a jersey. He deserves a statue in his likeness, not a collection of wire hangers fished out of a dumpster and displayed like a mannequin from the team gift shop. Unfortunately, there is no finer example of the Commanders' front office than an empty helmet. And that's barely news. And now, it's time to take a look back at last week's games. It's time for the recap. It was Thanksgiving and everyone's mind was on one thing. Turkey balls. Athletes. They're just like us. Hungry as fuck. Jared Goff hit Amon-Ra St. Brown for a touchdown. And after, he fed the needy. Great. Now they're gonna need naps. Halftime featured a very moving musical performance by That Ass. A stiff wind grazed Jared Goff, causing him to fall to his death, and the refs gathered around and danced like Egyptians.
Do not talk to me about an announcer's jinx. Michael Badgley has not missed a kick all year. Here's Badgley's kick. Oh, blast him. Oh, no.
Jim Nantz thumbed his nose at the gods, and now he'll feel the wrath of Detroit, which sounds like a Rage Against the Machine album, but very much isn't. Even after 4 turnovers, the Lions were still in this game, dancing like dinosaurs or driving tiny mopeds. But in the end, the Bills got the win, and the turkey that I assume this reporter prepared for them. Tastes like salmonella. Before the game, Dak Prescott's phone was seen sporting a picture of himself. Why not? He's his favorite player. Who'd you think it was gonna be, Cooper Rush? The only way it could have been better is if it was a selfie, so every time he picked up his phone, he was caught in an introspective state of repose. The winner of this game gets OBJ, assuming he can find a ride to the facility. Brian Dable was heated about a penalty that cost him a touchdown. I hope someone followed that ref to his car and called his house later to check on him, after Dable flashed him what can only be described as murder eyes. Peyton Hendershot scored a touchdown and played whack-a-mole with his teammates. Tight end Jake Ferguson made a catch that reminded me of an old adage my Nana used to say: when they go low, pee on them. Nana was weird. Justin Jefferson scored a touchdown and a goddamn gritty party broke out. It's a long day, Justin. Pace yourself. Hunter Henry caught a touchdown that wasn't, after it moved a little bit, but never hit the ground. And I demand a written apology inked in blood by every official at that game and everyone in the NFL Command Center in New York. It must be hand-delivered by Terry McCauley, clenched in his teeth as he crawls on all fours. Make right what was wrong and stop changing the rules on what a catch is. Kenny Nwangwu returned a kick for a touchdown and was ceremoniously beaten by his teammates. The Vikings won and reaped the spoils of their victory. Turkey so dry, it nearly robbed Adam Thielen of his life. Spit it out, Adam! Stay away from the light! Kyle Allen got the start for the Texans. 1 interception, 5 sacks. Davis Mills had to be thinking, I could do that. The Finns chased Allen all the way back to grade school. At one point, Tua was bent and folded like origami. He looked like an expressionist painting of roadkill. It was nice to see Texans fans made the trip. The Dolphins led 30-0 by halftime. They never scored again. Why bother? Show some mercy. Santa's watching. Like some high school over-the-clothes action, this game was a long, slow, physical grind. Derrick Henry broke free for big yards, but the ball was stripped just before the goal line, and Treylon Burks fell on it, his first pro touchdown. The Bengals responded with a couple of touchdowns to Samaje Perine and T. Higgins. Bengals offensive lineman Ted Karras had a special message for the people of Tennessee.
Right up yours, Tennessee! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Did he have enemies in Tennessee? He does now. Be honest, Broncos fans. If Russell Wilson was on life support, you would have grabbed a pillow weeks ago. Nose tackle Mike Purcell let him have it. What did he say? Was he ordering a Danger Witch? Now's not the time for banana peppers and mayonnaise. They just lost to the Panthers and Sam Darnold, who is either their first, second, or third string quarterback. It's unclear. Coach Wilkes said he liked what he saw from Darnold, and I suppose sooner or later, we all need glasses. Sam Darnold performed a classic play where you fumble the ball, fall on it, and then tumbleweed your asshole into the end zone for 6. Classic. Darnold was doing that thing again where he looks like a real live quarterback man, only to drink your tears later when it all falls apart. He needs your hope tears. He stores them in his giant forehead like a sympathy-fueled cranial aqueduct. This season has been a nightmare for the Broncos, and people can't stop trolling their quarterback. If I told you Russell Wilson played an entire quarter with his helmet on backwards, you'd be skeptical. But ever so slowly, you'd Google it. Mike White returned to the starting lineup, and he brought a passing game with him. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Garrett Wilson caught 2 of them. Even Elijah Moore got a touchdown. Basically, everyone was happy. He made the easy look easy, said Coach Saleh, in one of the strangest compliments ever. Like, hey, I think you're pretty anyway. Meanwhile, Zach Wilson was seen on the sidelines turning into Emperor Palpatine. I feel like I should mention the Bears here somewhere, but I don't remember them being part of this game. Coach Saleh is expected to return to Zach Wilson next week. Or, hear me out, don't. Brian Robinson ground the Falcons down into a fine pace on his way to 105 yards rushing. Heineke hit John Bates for one very big touchdown. The Falcons made one final push, but Mariota's pass was tipped at the line and intercepted in the end zone. After the game, Brian Robinson was sporting one big-ass hat. He said his friend has a company, and if you want one, just let him know. Coach Rivera said he wanted one too. Yeah, buddy, the line forms here. Myles Garrett showed up in a Jurassic suit because their chances of making the playoffs are extinct. Tom Brady threw a pair of touchdowns, but it wasn't enough. It doesn't help when your cornerbacks fall down and get tossed like a leaf in a cool autumn breeze. Fans reported a skunk in the stands. He was dubbed the Rally Skunk. Nobody even considered the possibility that it might be Deshaun Watson's new representation. Brady told the cameraman, "Get off my lawn." Oh, now you don't like cameras after 10 episodes of Man in the Arena? Jacoby Brissett was on point, finding David Njoku for a highlight reel catch. Next week, Brissett's character will be written out of the show after he goes off to college or war or just goes upstairs and never comes down again. Brady said they're not scoring enough points, and that's definitely what losing is. The Browns' win puts them at 4-7, meaning the difference between the Bucs and the Browns is now 1 game and 1 skunk. Trevor Lawrence had 321 yards and 3 touchdowns. Finally, the sunshine we've all been promised. He was a promiscuous little tart, spreading the love all over, like anyone was watching anything other than that sexy-ass mascot. After a player was pushed, he soccer flopped, and nobody gave a shit. Nice try, but they only throw flags for pointing in this league. In the final drive, Lawrence was perfect as his hair is long, and everyone thought we were going to OT. Tie the game with a PAT? Screw that. Dougie P went for 2. He said his players convinced him to do it, which sounds less like coaching and more like a story about the first time you did mushrooms. You're too old for peer pressure, Doug. The Ravens had one last chance, but Justin Tucker's kick came up short. See ya, Ravens. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. Crutch shot! Quandre Diggs picked Derek Carr off twice in the first quarter. On one of them, the 12th man became very real when Darrell Taylor came off the sideline to block for the return. Nobody seemed to notice, so cool? Carr made amends for his mistakes with 3 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs went for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. In overtime, it was his 86-yard run that won the game. I just tried to run as fast as I can, Jacobs said. Spare me your technical mumbo-jumbo. It was a stunning win for the Raiders. Derek Carr looked like a kid who just found the mac and cheese. Marry me, Georgia. It'll never work. We're on different teams. The Cardinals were on top for most of the game. Derwin James stole the ball from James Conner and DeAndre Hopkins. You shifty little bandit. The Chargers came from behind late, but overtime's for suckers. They went for 2 and Herbert found Gerald Everett, who did that hip new dance where you unpack a bunch of suitcases quickly. Coach Staley said he knew he was going for the 2-point conversion and described it as smooth like chocolate milk. Knock it off, you creepy bastard. Come on, bro. Let's go to Arby's. No. Balls were flying all over the place in this one, but they all seemed to be falling the Niners' way. I don't even know what the context of this photo was. It could literally be directed at any Saints player or coach during the game. The Saints were blanked. It was no points allowed. Alvin Kamara lost 2 fumbles in this game. He only rushed for 13 yards. So the trip to the team bus must have been a refreshing change of pace, assuming the Niners defense didn't follow him and slapped the luggage out of his hands. The effort by the Rams in this one was easily measured on Travis Kelce's first touchdown, where a defender's tackling effort showed like unwilling participation. Isaiah Pacheco scored a touchdown and then danced like that one friend who never wants to leave the club, even though the lights are on and the music stopped like 5 minutes ago. Sean McCoy had his face scrambled by his own player. Look at that face. None of that is supposed to be where it is. Number 49 better invest in some edible arrangements or a gift card to Merv's. If he's lucky, maybe he forgot his team is being used like old newspapers to line the bottom of the NFC West like a bird cage. Jalen Hurts showed up in a coat best described as designer body bag. The Eagles' front line did more than sing Christmas songs. They bullied their way to 363 yards. Jalen Hurts took the QB franchise record, previously held by heavy petter Michael Vick. Aaron Rodgers left in the third quarter. He had already broken a thumb, but now he said he couldn't breathe or rotate his upper body, which seemed like essential functions for basic human life. Jordan Love came in and immediately played better than a 38-year-old with one working thumb who couldn't breathe or move. The defense never came through and the Pack dropped another one. Cue the memes. The Colts came out flatter than an A-cup. The Steelers' offense put up points despite themselves. A Colts defender was caught on mic saying they're running the same plays, and I don't know which is worse. The banality of offensive coordinator Matt Canada's play calling, or the fact that the Colts defense still couldn't stop it. In the second half, the Colts finally grabbed this game by the gooch. They breached the red zone when Jonathan Taylor made a big fat fumble. But don't worry, Matt Ryan fell on it. Nope, never mind, fuck all things, they lost it anyway. The game was tight going into the fourth. Questionable clock management came late in the game. Even bobblehead brought to life Joe Buck was stunned the Colts refused to call a timeout. It's almost like Jeff Saturday doesn't have any professional coaching experience. After the game, Coach Tomlin spoke about Monday Night Football being the fabric of our society. I think you're thinking of cotton. Thank you so much for watching Shut Up Football. We do appreciate it. We'll catch you next time. Peace!
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.
I am upset. And it's not for the reason that any of you think that I should be. I love Jerry Jones. I love him very, 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 very much. He is the greatest man, perhaps the first man. He is Adam. He invented the atom. He invented HGTV.